Hey everybody, this is your host Yankonomics. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we have an awesome game for you. We're going to be showcasing the John Bart. As you can see from the title and probably have guessed it, John Bart Envy. Hashtag JB for Hustle. Love you, Hustle. If anybody doesn't know who I'm talking about, Hustle XC, he's a good guy. Hustle XC, really good guy. Friend of ours, friend of the channel. And he also has a YouTube channel, so go check him out. All you got to do is type that into the search bar, Hustle XZ, and you can bring it. His channel should come up for you. So, without further ado, let's jump into the game on this one. We had a really nice game. We had my good friends my Flame with me, as well as Vlad760. Vlad said he wanted to do an aircraft carrier game, and I said, well, why not? Let's do it. I'll take the John Bart, good AA ship. One of the best AA ships in the game, and one of the better ones at Tier 7. So we jump into this one, and right away we get pretty lucky. We actually get a Tier 6, Tier 7 game to start. And we just get into this game. We end up having 3 battleships spawn across from us. Now that's going to be a factor later on in the game. And also the enemy Saipan is going to spawn across from us, which you're going to see here right quick in the start of this match. I get focused by that Saipan for a little bit, but then I think the Saipan realized that going after me and the John Bart probably wasn't good for all the health of his airplanes, because we were shooting him down quite a bit. I do end up getting a clear sky in this game, and we end up having some pretty good shots in this game. We're able to showcase basically in this game what the John Bart is really good at, and what are some of the more frustrating things about the John Bart. What I will say, few and far between. The John Bart, fantastic boat. If you're lucky enough to have it, or you were lucky enough to get it, you're gonna enjoy this one, and you probably already enjoy the ship. So here we go. We got a Leon and North Carolina's right here, and then I think we have a Kansas that shows up. First salvo, I don't get much there. It was only 2,600 on that first salvo, but now that Leon starts to go broadside, and what I want to do is I want to get him going broadside that way. And there you go. There's exactly what I'm talking about, where it's kind of the trolley kind of dispersion. That's one of the, you don't have them very often, but every once in a while you throw a salvo and it just trolls you. And here's what we were talking about, or here's what I was talking about a minute ago with that aircraft carrier going after me. Hits me with all 4 torpedoes, floods me, and I'm already sitting here going, wow, this is going to be one of those type of games, right? And we end up turning this around. It starts out slow like that, and then all of a sudden things just start coming together, and we have a good game. So I got another North Carolina sitting there on mid. We end up chunking him for about $8,000 right through his nose. Now the cool thing about the John Bart with the 15-inch guns is, with the Tier 6, with most every Tier 6 battleship, I think maybe even all of them, you can overmatch their bow armor. So that's what I was aiming to do with that shot. Now here's that Kansas. He's going to end up going outside here, and I'm not going to waste that shot, because all I would have done right there is just hit the side of that island. It wouldn't have done anything. It would have been a waste of a shot. So I'm going to keep focusing on this North Carolina, and I know I got Flame next to me in the mains. He's going to be focusing as well, getting that guy lit on fire. We're not going to end up killing that guy until later on in the match, but we do end up getting him later on. Reload boosters will come into play with that one. So here I am. I'm reversing off the start here. I didn't want to get lit back up on fire by anything, so I started reversing. I had already used my damage con on that flood, and it was like, okay, we may have a little bit of a risk here with getting pushed, because it looks like those guys from the mid were going to push this way. We had the carrier on our side, and then we had these 3 battleships, so we're already thinking we're going to have to play some seriously strong defense, and that's why you see me backing up right here. So at this point, I know I'm talking to Flame. Vladdy's calling out the shots, and he's letting us know where all these guys are going. Flame decides that he needs to cut these guys off, and we were kind of telling Flame, and I don't mean to pick on him, and it's certainly not what I'm going with here, but we were telling Flame, just play a little defense here. You don't have to go out there, because I got you covered. I was telling him right here, I got you covered on the North Carolina. And here's a pretty nice salvo. It looked really accurate. Just I wish I would have gotten a little more damage with that last salvo. But we end up getting a better shot later on here. Again, I wanted Flame to just hang tight, play some defense, keep these guys back, and Flame does end up getting in on some of these. He ends up getting the Leon, but then he ends up dying after that one. And here's the shot. Here's the shot I was really looking for right here. Boom! Citadel destroyed. That's our first kill of the match. So now we have the Leon pushing up 2, but I think at this point Flame was already committed to this turn around the corner, and he ends up playing this very well. He gets his other side torpedoes. He's got 8 of them on each side with that mains. he ends up using that to his advantage. He ends up getting that Leon. So now we're already starting. We already know, and I trust Flame getting that Leon. We're gonna start focusing on the other ships in that other side of the map there, the ones that were pushing mid. So there was 2 tier 6 ships. I had a North Carolina and a New Orleans, and I'm gonna focus on them. And I'm gonna take one more shot at the Leon just to give Flame a little bit of support here. Ends up being an okay shot. The problem is we overpen. So I end up coming over here, and I'm thinking Flame's got him, but just to be cautious here, as soon as I see these torps come out, then I'm like, yeah, he's got him, and then it's like, yep, you got him there. But Flame stays alive for a little bit longer. He ends up getting whacked though by that Kansas. So now I'm focusing back on mid. I got the New Orleans pushing up, and then I got the other North Carolina on mid here, and I feel like I aimed these shots exactly the way I should have, and this is just where that dispersion kind of trolls you sometimes with these French battleships like the Richelieu, like the Jean Bart. The wonderful thing about the Jean Bart is that really quick reload, and then you have that reload booster, which I already used one. I thought there was going to be a little bit of a harder collaborated push from those guys on the right, those battleships. So I'd used that reload booster, and it was probably a little bit preemptive. I probably should have held on to that one. So now, again, we're getting the shots out. I'm measuring these shots up just right. The shells just aren't cooperating. And this New Orleans ends up getting away here. He ends up getting away, and he comes back later on, but we end up doing something dirty to him later on in this game, and it's just fantastic. So stay tuned on this. So now we have the Veneto. He's pushing up. He's broadside. I have the North Carolina. He's pushing in here, and then I believe the Kansas is going across Cap B as well. And that's when Vlad goes over the top and spots him with his aircraft carrier. So I'm gonna hit the brakes right here. I don't want this Kansas to get my broadside, and at the same time, I don't want to get caught in a crossfire here. So I start turning into the Kansas, and I end up getting a couple good shots here. But now I'm noticing that I got the perfect opportunity here to find some cover and then get these guys off the middle and start creating some crossfires on these guys. So what I end up doing here is I push forward into this island in front of me, and I use that as my advantage. It's my defense against the Kansas, and it ends up being a pretty good maneuver. Now I get trolled a little bit with some shots here on the North Carolina, but my last one ends up taking them out with a Citadel right through the bow. So here's the first shot. We end up getting a couple penetration hits, which is awesome. But then I'm thinking to myself, okay, I got my reload booster coming back in about the next 5-6 seconds, and it's going to line up perfectly here. I'm gonna use one more salvo on him. It's gonna bring him down pretty far, and I wanted to get him off the map before he had a shot to take me out or hit me really hard or end up hitting my teammate really hard. So there was a really good salvo. 3 pens, 2 overpens, reload booster activated, and he's gonna get pulverized right through the nose here, right through the nose, right through A turret. Boom, gone. So there's number 2, kill number 2. Now we're looking at this. Now we're looking at the map here, and we're noticing we're down on points, and they have 2 caps to our 1. C cap is open. They have A cap. And they also have B cap, which we're sitting on and contesting right now. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, if that Veneto's far off and he's not giving me the greatest shot, then I'm going to focus my attention on this Kansas because I know his AA is really good, and I don't want his AA to shoot down all of Vlad's airplanes. So I start pushing forward. I make a mistake here coming up. I actually get reset here from the Kansas, and I think maybe from the enemy Saipan. But then I make a mistake, and I actually jump off this cap to the point where I have to reverse and then solo cap this thing here in about a minute. So our damage count right now, we're at 19. We're at 19 airplanes already taken down by our AA. We're at 2 kills. We're at 96,000 damage. Probably should have held on to that shot a second or 2 longer. Ended up hitting that island pretty good, but we ended up getting 1 pen there, and now we're over 100,000 damage. So I push forward. I'm using the island to my left to get away from the Veneto. So now the Veneto's got my broadside, but at this point he can't shoot over that island, that big island on my left. So I'm using the map to my advantage to make sure I push forward here. I'm going to end up hitting this Kansas, and then that battleship that's with me to my right, I believe, he's going to end up getting a shot over the top here, and he's going to end up getting this kill. Unfortunately, unfortunately, he gets the kill. I end up losing out on the Kraken, but again, that is the biggest pain right there in the map right now. That Kansas with his 12 16-inch gun. So no matter what, get him off the map. Accurate ship, heavy hitting, and I definitely didn't want him to break my guns, which is one of the downsides of the John Bart. And with that shot, we end up getting a little more damage, and we end up getting a couple more airplanes shot down and pop the clear sky medal. So here's where I get reset by the aircraft carrier. Now my aim here was actually to start making this turn. I wanted to get back towards the broadside on this Veneto, and I try to angle myself so that I can get out there to shoot at him, but I also wanted to try and ram this island so I could stay on the cap here, and I end up screwing this one up. That's one of the mistakes I made in this game, and to go back on it, so be it. I probably could have ended up with a better game if I'd have played this right, but we still end up reversing back onto the cap and getting to it. Now, we know the Saipan's still up north here, and I'm talking to Vlad about it, and I'm like, hey, if you can go up there and spot that carrier, I will shoot at him. I just wanted to make sure that I could take some shots at this Veneto, who's pushing our battleship on the north side of A. Now, we're asking ourselves, too, where has this battleship been all game? How did he make it, our friendly battleship, that is, how did he make it north of A? And I'm like, okay, well, if this Veneto's going to chase him broadside, I might have a chance to poke at him and get a couple citadels on a broadside Veneto. So again, we missed that. We miscalculated that ram on the island there, but now we reverse back and we're able to solo cap this thing. So Vladdy's making his way up there. He was thinking that he's all the way back in the corner, and to our luck, he was not. And he ends up making a play here where he cuts back over and ends up in range. Just a hair out of my range right here at 19.2. But you see, as you see, I'm stopped in the water here. I'm not moving, and he ends up angling just a little bit toward me where I'm able to take a shot max range. And you guys and gals are going to love this one. Check it out. Look at that accuracy. Look at that dispersion in the shell grouping. Wham! 2 citadels, high caliber pops. We're up to 141,000 damage. 28 planes shot down, and we click off the capture. Solo cap on the base. So now at this point, I'm thinking to myself, we are going to have a really awesome game here. So I'm going to start pushing forward at this Veneto. Because he's broadside, I want to get at him. Now at this point, I realized we have a New Orleans out here yet, and he has not been spotted for a while. And I'm thinking, what is that New Orleans doing? Where is he? Is he pushing me? He pops up here, and he's pushing Vlad. And I'm like, oh no. Because if he gets a hold of Vlad, this is game over. That's a New Orleans, 8-inch guns, max range shot. I get loaded just before this island and get this shot off. So ladies and gentlemen, the shot heard around the world. Crushed. Defended ribbon, citadel, 1 pen, 2 over pens, got the kill on him, saved Vlad's life. Vlad is like, oh, good shit, Jank. And I was pumped up at that point. I was like, we got this now. So it comes up to the end here. We got 1 ship left. We got 3 kills. We got 161,000 damage. And with that salvo on the Veneto, we pop our Confederate medal. Clear sky, high caliber, Confederate, and we push in here. We're not done. The Veneto smokes up, and he ends up disabling one of the turrets, and I'm just like, well, I'm going to repair this. We're at the end of the game. We're going to win this thing. This is going to end up being a good one here. Now, I miscalculate this shot. I end up bleeding him too much, and then the shells end up going over the top, but you're going to see it here. Give me a couple seconds, and you're going to see what the accuracy of one turret can do. Let's check this out. And... oh, 1 pen. Now we're going to get loaded again. Okay, here it is. Ready? Aim for the front of A turret. Aim for the flat top. Boom! She gone. 2 citadels. Get the kill. Pop another medal. I believe it's our Dreadnought medal. 4 kills. End up with 196,000 damage. Look at the credits. 951,000 credits. Base XP. 3,688 base XP. 4 kills. I mean, we doubled up the next person on our team. It was that kind of game. Everything just came together at the end. It's clicking. The shells are working right at the right times. Accuracy to boot. 6 citadels, 29 airplanes shot down, 86 target hits. Solo cap on B there. And this was just everything that I could have hoped for. Just an awesome game. So, the funny thing about this is before this game, I actually had a previous game and I wasn't recording. So I go to the recent battles to show you guys this. The very game prior to this one, I had played the John Bart and pulled this one off. Fireproof Kraken, Dreadnought, Clear Sky, High Caliber, 3,408 XP, and that was the game that I wasn't recording. And that actually, when I played this game, Vlad and Flame both said, "Oh, Jank, I hope you were recording that game." And I said, "No, I wasn't." They're like, "Well, you need to start recording now." And I got to say thank you to those guys for telling me to do it, because then we followed up with a 3,688 base XP game with 4 kills, and just fantastic all-around game. I'd say that was a pretty hard carry if you ask me. So I'm just messing around a little bit, but I come back and I'm going to look at the ship stats for you. I'm going to go through all this stuff. And, again, the Jean Bart, such a strong ship, 8 15-inch guns, very fast reload. I think we're down to like 23.7 seconds or something like that. Strong bow, 32 mil bow, so you're only going to get overmatched by the bigger shells like the Yamato and things like that. Battleship commander, I'm using Robert Jojard on my commander. He's maxed out at 16 Legend 4. For inspirations, I'm using Cunningham and Iachino. I got Flammable Cannoneer, Dry Rating Drill Bits, Marksmanship, Emergency Specialist, and Will to Rebuild as my legendary perk. And now I just go through the stats and show you guys a little bit about it. Here's my build. Here's my build, at least I was using for this game. I changed it up to AA Guns mod 2. Usually I run the mod where it actually gives my turrets more health. You lose 5% on the health with it, but you get like 50% more health to your turrets because, well, it's a Jean Bart. People love to target your turrets, and then they blow them up, and then you're useless. Then you're basically the French floating torpedo, and that's pretty much all you're good for. So use an AA build on this one just because Vlad was going to take a carrier, so we switched it up a little bit. Propulsion mod, concealment mod, and then the main battery mod 3 for a reload, quicker reload. 69,000 health, 23.7 second reload, 100 rated AA defense, and it's just an amazing all-around boat. Again, if you were lucky enough to be here when the campaign came out, it's fantastic. I know they've made it a super prize, and they made it a super prize for a reason. It's just because it's that good and it's so sought after by so many people. And we go through the armor scheme real quick. You'll see that the Citadel is below the waterline. That's why I wanted to show this. It's extremely difficult to try and Citadel the Jean Bart. And then you notice all the secondaries and AA guns all throughout the ship. And a lot of the secondaries on the back of the boat make it really effective for drive-bys, because once you get the shots off, you can quickly get away with the engine boost, and then let those secondaries really chew on the enemy and get them lit up on fire. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to Yankonomics on YouTube, hit the like button, and we'll see you on the very next game. Peace out.